Shalom Yashrala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth and I rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson real fast, not making this one here too long, but it's pretty plain and obvious right now that all the nations are complaining. All right, you starting to see all these different nations, the world leaders and people that represent a lot of these other nations, they're all complaining. All right. And one of the main complaints, one of the things that's uniting all these different nations together is that they all have the same complaint. They all have the same problem. And so now they're getting to a point to where, they're feeling vocal about, speaking on these things at this point in time. They're no longer afraid to speak on these things, man. So you're starting to see everybody at this point in time, this one event that's been going on, what seems to be coming to an end, but hey, like the scriptures say, when they should say peace and safety, then shall come sudden destruction. Not saying that's, about to pop off like that, because we still have other prophecies to take place. But nevertheless, with this one event going on over there in the Ukraine and Russia, which is bringing us further and further to completion of prophecy, the hooks into the jaws. All right, and getting into what we're going to get into today, what we're starting to see over this whole thing is, America's starting to circle the drain. America's falling from heaven as lightning. America's falling down real quick. But not just that, a lot of these other nations, going also into what the weak saying they're strong. All right, and part of what that is, you're starting to see all these different nations starting to sober up from this Babylonian juice, man. They're all starting to sober up and realize, we all was at a party, and we all got one thing in common. We came to this party to have a good time. All right, we was promised all these different things. We went to the bar. We wasn't watching our drink. And then all of a sudden we took a drink and started getting woozy. And that was the last thing that we remember. And when we woke back up, we was robbed, stripped, and naked. All right, and all of our valuables was taken. All right, and the one thing that everybody that's waking up at this here party, is starting to realize is like, wait a minute, we all naked. We all been robbed and we've all been spoiled. The one person we can't find is who? America. All right, America is the one who hosted the party, handed out all the drinks and the drugs, and got everybody all drunk on their philosophies and things like that. All right, and nevertheless, now they're starting to wake up and they're starting to see what's going on around all these different things. All right, let's go over here to Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations are drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right, and so, hey, like I just gave the analogy of going to this here house party, Babylon have been a golden cup. They was the one hosting the party, everybody came to them for the so-called good time, right? It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. All right, so they was the one that was giving out the so-called drink or giving out the philosophies and the so-called goodies, passing out the deals, more or less to say, trying to so-called entice all these other nations, It says the nations have drunken of her wine, they took into all those things, and the nations are mad. Now they all upside down and inside out and backwards, man. All right, everything is all corrupted now because why? America wound up, having their hand into their cookie jar. And this is what these nations are all waking up to see. All right, America's allies, when it comes to the war front, that, like, for instance, the ones that America had then swindled, all right, to, so-called join their pacts, whether it be NATO or, just being allies with them and take trade with them, all right, who happen to be up on Russia's borderlines, they say, it was all sweet talking and everything, all right? The ones that, let me grab this precept real quick. In Obadiah 1:7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. All right, and so let me keep reading. It says, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. So, just particularly speaking on some of these nations that's on the border of Russia, all right, that so-called took the juice. You had a couple different nations over there saying, hey, look, this ain't our war. We don't want nothing to do with this here war. We want to back away from this war. We're on either side. We don't got nothing to do with none of this stuff, man. All right, and if you understood how America and their allies was to work, when America say jump, they say how high. All right, they don't question, oh, it's the roof is too low for us to jump. Oh, it's dangerous for us to jump. What are we gonna get out of it if we jump? They never had no room to say nothing like that. When America was to say jump, these other nations would say how high. Now these nations, America is now saying jump to these other nations. These nations saying, nah, we don't want to participate in your little charades, your little games no more. We don't want nothing to do with this here competition, bro. If you want to have a jumping contest with these other nations, you go out there and you jump. You go out there and you dance. We don't want to partake in none of this. We ain't on either side, man, because they're starting to realize, hey, man, if there's a conflict or a war, or if, with the Russia scenario, if Russia sees, whatever, Because Russia already said, if you participate in this, you help out Ukraine in this scenario, I'm going to bring the war to your front. And so now these nations are realizing, like, wait. We right here either beside or in the vicinity of Russia and the Ukraine. So it's nothing for Russia to just start waging war on a whole nother front and just start to bomb the hell out of us, man. And America ain't nowhere to be found. America's way back in the back, sitting around just talking shit from a distance. All right. And now, a lot of these other nations that aren't on that scenario, you're starting to see not just, for instance, you have like in this scenario, it says, all the men in thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there's no understanding in him. So you have some nations that are in like Europe that's, say for instance, like a lot of Europe, but Germany per se. All right, they get the majority of their liquid natural gas from there. All right, they get the majority of their energy, in order to be able to move. They get all of that from Russia and everything else like that. And they start to say, hey man, look, we don't really want none of the beef. France as well too. They trying to go over there and de-escalate the scenario. They're trying to, again, because America's pretty much the talking head of this whole alliance of NATO and the EU. All right, like I said, when America say jump, the other nations say how high. The other nations don't tell America to jump. The other nations don't tell America we're gonna go invade this country and wage war, and y'all gotta back us up. No, it's America that goes and wages war in these other countries and tells these other nations they have to go back America up. But now these nations are saying, or else what? Or what you gonna do if we don't? And so now, like I said, well, like with Germany and the liquid natural gas scenario, they're looking at it both ways. America said, hey, don't certify that Nord Stream 2 pipeline, but Germany's saying, look, we can't just walk away from this deal because that's going, we have a deal, all right, meaning both parties are involved with Russia with this. Now, if we walk away from this shit, Russia gonna benefit from it solely, man. We not finna sit here and walk away from this deal just so you can line your pockets, and Biden and his family them got some they got some dealings with the opposing pipeline that's over there that's running through the Ukraine. So nevertheless, not going too far off topic, it's like, wait, this is just lining your pockets and your personal people pockets. We talking about a whole country that's over here about to basically starve. You trying to starve out a whole country, more or less, to say, all right, just to line your pockets over here. Why you can't keep your ass at home? Why can't you just stay, stay in line or in legal what you have going on, man? You always got your nose in somebody else's business, and you always are worried about what we got going on. But this is bankrupting everybody else, man. But just so you can fatten your pockets. So, okay, let me grab that real quick. All right, Habakkuk 2:5, it says, also because he transgresses by wine. All right, going back into that Babylonian juice again. All right, getting everybody all drunken. All right, it says, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And why does he want all these nations and all these people up under him, man? All right, to reign on top of them. All right, reign over top of them, and to basically, steal all the resources and make himself fatten his pockets and make himself rich. But nevertheless, hey, man, and they don't have none of these other people. They don't have none of these other people's well-being in mind when they, when they go and make these deals, more or less to say, when they's talking about, hey, we're going to cut off this Nord Stream 2 pipeline, all right, to bring this here liquid natural gas into Germany. They're not saying, hey, look, even though you're going to have to get this here gas from us, it's going to cost you more money, it's a cheaper quality, and we're going to be the ones to benefit. You're going to just lose out because it's going to cost you more money. All right, see, they don't take that into consideration with these things, man. All right, verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, and how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, and I'm going to come back to this real quick, because this is what the nations are saying right now. The nations now, they're all starting to sober up, and they're all starting to realize that they have one thing in common. There's one thing that's actually joining all these other nations together, which we know at the end all be all, as the scriptures say. All right, all ye that been at the bow, all ye archers stand round about and shoot at her. This is what's going to put all these nations on one accord against Babylon the Great, man. All right, Babylon's own doings, as we constantly keep going over, like, you laying the snare for your own self in the way, man. You don't want to lay in your own death trap out there, man, and then you going to walk upon it, man. These are the things of your own doings, all right? But now, you've been going so hard on these other nations, all right, and just constantly going and going and going and going and going. Matter of fact, let me grab that first real quick. Where is that? Well, Slocky, give me 1 second. Jeremiah 50 and 20, I believe it is. Yeah, Jeremiah 50 and 23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? It says, I have laid. So how is America wind up taking this here major ill, man? All right, if this was the hammer of the whole earth, most dominating power on the face of the earth, with this conglomeration of nations walking alongside it, how is this here superpower amongst superpowers, the greatest superpower so far, to come across the face of the earth? How is it destroyed, man? All right. Well, it starts with what? Like the scriptures say, if Satan, is against Satan, how can his kingdom stand? You're going to have internal conflict, man. You're going to have your own allies coming against you, man. Now, what's going to turn your own allies against you? Well, your own doings, man. You're the ones that's turning them against your own self, man, and turn back to bite you, man. All right, it says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because I have striven against Yahweh. So, hey, man, this is part of the... the how do I say, the snare, the trick, or the trap that, America think they're setting to catch Russia up, but it's ultimately just a snare that's falling back upon them. Let's say, for instance, let's sanction Russia and everything else, freeze all their assets. Well, I mean, ultimately this is just, or cutting them off from the SWIFT system and things like that. Well, let's just go ahead and start selling and buying, and then also sanctioning the oil around the globe. These other nations is like, you know what, we need to get this here energy, and we're going to get it from Russia. And if Russia then been sanctioned and can't use the SWIFT system, now they're going to just start using their own actual currency to get this. So now these nations need to stop buying up dollars or the petrodollar, because now you've already, like, you pretty much made your own goddamn petrodollar system, the SWIFT system, obsolete. All right, because these nations still need to eat. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, look, not going too far into the politics of all this. I didn't want to make this too long, but hey, nevertheless, America's own doings is strengthening Russia and also weakening their own relationships with their own allies. So again, all these other nations are starting to wake up, and they're all starting to, let's go back. Isaiah 14 and 16, it says, then they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake us the kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All right, and so this is what these nations are starting to say right now. All these nations, again, are starting to wake up from this drunken stupor that they was in, all right, from being highly, sedated with these drugs that America then slipped into their damn drinks. Now they all starting to wake up naked and raped, robbed, and murdered and everything else like that, and starting to look around like, what the hell? We all got one thing in common. We all out here bare, naked, and spoiled. The only person that's missing is America. Now, America is like in the cartoon, you see, what's his name? Scrooge McDuck trying to haul off down the street with his big-ass bag of money and dropping gold coins because it's just so big, and, you can't even contain all the damn coins, but as he's trying to run, he's just leaving a trail of coins behind him, and everybody looking like, wait, we all bare and naked out here, and we looking down the road, we can see articles of our clothing. This is the nigga right here that did this to us, man. Is this the man right here? Is this the one thing that we all have in common? We got different issues between, what y'all done did to us in the past, what we done to you in the past, so-called religious fights, so-called whatever kind of, because a lot of these countries have other differences between one another, whether it's like, well, these people did this to us in the past, and we still going back and forth for war, or they try to do this to us, or they did that to us. But nevertheless, they putting all those type of differences to the side right now and saying, you know what, we got a bigger threat. We have a common enemy, and that enemy is America, Babylon the Great. And so now they're all starting to wake up and sober up and starting to look around and be like, wait, this is the one common thing that we all have in problem. You had those people from, South Africa talking about, when they was going through apartheid and everything else like that, that the people that was pushing for all that was the Americans, but the people that gave them arms to liberate them was the Russians. All right, now in today's times, they're saying, look, how is it that America can go around in all these other nations and with their military go, and by law, with their military go and plunder these other nations and steal their oil from their country by force of the military, but a nation like Russia, who has this natural gas in their own coastlines, in their own borders, dug it up on their own ways and selling it to the willing participants, the willing nations that want to buy all this, how is that a war crime? How is that a terroristic threat? How is that a problem? Wait a minute, this is benefiting us. We want to buy this from them because it's cheaper and it's cheaper in cost, but better in quality. How is this a problem now that we want to go and buy this? Oh, because you can't lace your pockets with this? You the damn devil right now, man. All right, how the hell is the same person who just tried to go and hijack a country recently, Venezuela, and assassinate their world leader, sanction all their oil? All right, once you put these oil restrictions on everybody else, now you want to double back and go get oil from Venezuela now? And we just supposed to forget about that, man? All right, what about you? You know, you call them dictators and war criminals and soulless people. Well, what about America, man? They starting to wake up and realize, hey, man, this is the person that's been, how do I say, devouring nations, bombing nations, invading nations, stealing resources, moving people around the earth, creating slavery amongst other nations, whether they do it with their mask on or mask off. Because, see, you know, oh, yeah, America's enslaved their own people here in America and kept them in poverty. But what about, you know, when they shipped their jobs off to places like China and paid them pennies on the dollar to work in these sweatshops and things like that? Well, now you've created slavery somewhere else. Now, you know, you had the so-called those little labs over in China where the little virus didn't escape from. Now you also have crowds about America setting up their chemical labs in the Ukraine and trying to blame Russia for creating chemical weapons and things like that, man. So now all these nations are starting to realize, like, yo, wait. The one demon that's been running free on this earth unattested is who? America. Now they're all starting to look at America with that side eyes, like, yo, what the hell you think you're doing out here, man? All right, and this is how America is being exposed. So let me read it again. Isaiah 14:16. Then they that see thee shall nearly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake the nations, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof and opened not the house of his prisoners? All right, and so, hey, this is what's you know, being made manifest on the earth right now. This is what's being made clear amongst these other nations, that look, we're gonna put aside our differences and actually start going towards you know, how do I put it? You know, the scripture called it the man of sin, but the man of unrest, man, the man of destabilization, man. This is what they call destabilization, coup d'etats. All right, that's a tactic of America, man. Overthrowing governments and things like that, regime change, man. How dare you goddamn devils, man? But hey, nevertheless, we in beautiful times because, hey, these nations, it's not just the Israelites that's on the highways and the byways condemning this damn devil and exposing this damn devil. The other nations are exposing this damn devil. Let's close out with this Obadiah 1:6 real quick. It says, how are the things that Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So ultimately, this is what you have going on. This is what the big, how do I put it? The big, you know, the major revelation on the face of the earth is right now. You know, everybody's coming to the round table and you know, how do I say? They're going back to what they remember from the party last night. And, you know, all I remember is showing up to the party. I remember getting an invite from America to their house, to this here party. You know, we all got there. They fixed me a drink. I remember chit-chatting and we was laughing and going on and on and on. Then all of a sudden at a certain point in time, that was the last thing I remembered. The next thing I remember was I woke up the next morning naked and robbed of everything. You know, so, you know, now everybody's telling they same story, man. Hey, we let America in for this humanitarian situation or for this or that to help us out to build this, to build that. And the next thing we knew, we didn't even own our own country no more, man. They put up their own puppet and then they just robbed us blind and took all of our resources. Now we can't move out of the threat of them bringing military down upon us, man. All right, and all these nations all have the same story in line, but guess what? All these nations are now starting to mount up against America, man. Now all these nations are starting to take a stand against Babylon the Great, man. And it's going to be soon to when all these nations are going to shoot their arrows against Babylon the Great, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord will, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation, much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.